Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
For the first time in, 7, 8 months, we are together in San Francisco.
Okay, because you are at the San Francisco part because
yeah.
it was only like 4 months ago that we were
I went to
together in Chicago.
but
Yep.
it's been a long time since we've been together in San Francisco. We are at
A classic.
a classic gay bar, the Cinch in Nob Hill, which is where we spent a lot of our time when we were getting to know each other.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I think that is along the Twin Peaks Tower is the oldest gay bar that remains open from the early 70s, if I recall correctly, after the Gangway closed, that it was the oldest one. So what did we watch for celebrating this happy event? Because we needed to watch something that it was at the same height,
So it blew my mind that you picked the 2013 film by Jim Jarmusch, Only Lovers Left Alive, starring one of the only women that we're both bi for, Tilda Swinton, and then Tom Hiddleston, which we love him.
A 53-year-old Tilda Swinton that is clear that she is some kind of pact with the devil, that she doesn't look more than 40? Oh,
I mean, maybe she is an actual vampire.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Me neither.
It's at a point that we were discussing yesterday about who would you go with to a desert island? Do you know if it would be like Kate Blanchett and Tilda Swinton? And now I actually confirm it. It's like, with Kate Blanchett, I think that things could be fine, they will be fun, whatever. But it's like with Tilda Swinton, you may get murdered, she may actually be a complete, like a vampire. And, she would just feed on you. And I couldn't be surprised, probably I couldn't be pissed either.
So I don't have a fear of her being violent. I have a fear of feeling desperately insecure because I'm just not as cool as Tilda Swinton, and I couldn't keep up pretenses for an entire weekend on an island.
I think that I'll be fine with that. I will be like, yes, sure, whatever till then. Let's keep drinking. So the reason why I watched this is because Detroit is pretty close. Well, it's relatively close to Chicago. There is something funny that everyone has a car, and if you drive 3 hours on any direction, you just go to different states. It's uncanny how close things are when you have been living here for 10 years in San Francisco, and you have to just drive 7, 8 hours for just getting out of California.
And then you're just in Nevada, so...
Yeah, then you regret it, Well, if you go north, you go to Oregon, I guess.
Yeah, that's farther than 7 hours, though, I think. I don't know.
No, you may be right.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's this super connected, and the thing is from time to time I run into people that they are from Detroit, and the only thing, that when people tell you that, hey, I'm from some place, if you know something about that place, you try to give it a positive spin, even if they say that they are from Baltimore, because it's I love The Wire. I would never go there, but I love The Wire. I'm sorry if someone is from Baltimore, but I'm afraid that the kind of public image is not the best.
We all saw The Wire.
Yeah, and hairspray too.
We know. Yep.
So in this case, when people actually tell me about Detroit, I'm genuinely interested about. I would like to see this city that is basically desolation porn. And we already talked about It Follows. There is a movie that they actually just cast on that, on the desolation porn. And there is another one, The Green Room. There is this thriller. No, it's not The Green Room. The one that is these teenagers that go into the house of the guy that is an ex-marine that he's blind, and they try to just squeeze into it without getting found. That's also Detroit.
Oh, I remember that movie. Yeah, they rob him. And then he terrorizes them.
Yeah.
When
he also realizes that they're there, and it was also on Detroit. So I was feeling this. Look, the cinema industry has realized that it's super cheap to shoot in Detroit. It's for the price of a studio, you can buy 2 blocks of buildings, And so let's just shot in here. And I thought that this movie is the quintessential desolation porn. Let's just say. So I wanted to just watch it again because when we watched it, and I think that was at the beginning of our friendship, let's say when we were still giving some tentative steps, I remember that we both went to watch it, and I remember saying this was not my thing. This was just...
Well, I saw it 3 times in theaters in 2013.
Okay. The music is nice, but I think that I just felt there is no substance here. There's just aesthetics,
Well, I can't wait to hear what you think this time, because that was 8 years ago.
Yep. So as this was my pick, that was 9 years ago. As this was my pick, is that you have to summarize it.
Yes. So the film starts out focusing on a vampire named Adam, played by Tom Hiddleston. He is an extremely tortured musician living in like a completely dead neighborhood in Detroit. He's extremely reclusive. He seems to have one friend, Anton Yeltsin, I think. Yeltsin?
Yeah,
I think his name is.
Yeah, Ian is the name of the character, if I recall
Yeah, his name is Ian in the film, and he gets Adam all the like absurd things he needs, like antique guitars and vinyls, and it becomes clear very quickly that Adam is done with this world and he's preparing to commit suicide. He has Ian have an artist create a wooden bullet.
Because at this point they haven't said
that they're vampires.
Yeah.
And they never, well, at some point the fangs come out, but they never actually talk like, oh, he's a vampire. So it turns out that he's married. He's been married for at least
2 centuries, probably?
yeah, at least 2 centuries, but they never really say. They're clearly at least 500 years old.
Yeah.
But they never really say it. But
400? It was 300, no? It was like the oldest thing that they actually talk about. It was Byron.
in the 1600s, right?
1600s?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, they don't go into dates. It doesn't matter. They just, you know that they're
They're
old.
like pretty long, and they're like a bit bored. Well, he is.
So we find out that he's married to another vampire, played by Tilda Swinton. Her name is conveniently Eve.
What a coincidence.
Eve is living in Tangier, and she loves her husband, but after however 100 years, you don't have to spend time with them. She has her own little life, but she can sense that her husband is depressed, which apparently he goes through with some frequency. So she flies to Detroit to try and get him out of it. While they're in Detroit, Eve's sister, played by Mia Wasikowska, named Ava, shows up. Ava's a little bit of an addict to blood. Like, she drinks way more than she should. She causes problems.
Yeah, because the thing is that they cannot drink like regular blood, like human blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that they actually have to find like some kind of resource, like I don't know, like blood transfusions or whatever, you know, like just buying from there, because people do so much stuff nowadays between like drugs, meds, whatever, is that it's like the only way of actually getting like clean blood is just going with the transfusion bags.
So they're not eating or draining people anymore directly from the source, except Ava does. She kills Adam's only friend by draining him, and then they're forced to leave Detroit, even though he is just about to release, actually it was leaked, his new album of, I wouldn't call it rock music, but like alternative kind of like
Desolation rock.
Desolation rock, inspired by, I would say, North African like sitars. Like, it's super cool.
I mean, I thought it was like just inspired by Detroit. I mean, more that I want you to feel sad.
I would definitely recommend going to Spotify, listen to the soundtrack.
That's
fucking
pretty good.
cool.
Yeah.
When they arrive in Tangier, her source, which is a vampire that is much older than both of them, it seems. They never say.
He actually talks about Shakespeare.
Yeah, like he basically wrote Hamlet and gave it to Shakespeare and whatever. So it turns out he drank some bad blood, he's dying, and they don't have a blood source. And they're about to die, essentially, in the streets of Tangier, which is completely abandoned. And then they come across two young human lovers making out, and they eat them.
Yep. And they just start them. Supposedly.
Supposedly. We don't know.
Yeah.
We just see both of them going to bite the necks of the young humans, and the film ends.
Yeah.
That's the entire plot.
Yep.
Right? Did I leave anything out?
Nothing representative.
It's pretty simplistic, the plot.
Yep. If you can summarize it, I think that you could summarize it in 2 sentences.
Probably, yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep. Like couple of long married vampires meet in Detroit and die in Tangier.
Well, they don't die. We don't know. We don't know what happens to them.
I have to say that it's like for, you know, you have lived like for so many centuries and you're like facing eternal damnation, you know, after that long. It's like, I would feel like a bit more like freak out about the situation, but they play like super cool, super collected. I'm all like, you know, this may be it.
To be fair, they never discuss the existence of God or if there's a Satan, because it's not really relevant, because...
Well, they say that this is it for us, is that they're going to die if they don't feed. They're going to starve.
Yeah, like there's nothing... Like, once they die, that's it. There's nothing more.
Yeah,
Which makes sense. They don't have souls, apparently.
exactly. So it's like eternal damnation for them when they die.
So what the film lacks in plot complexity, it makes up for in
Aesthetics.
aesthetics, style. This is the coolest fucking movie that I've ever seen about vampires, besides Twilight.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that is... I was gonna say, do you think that is cooler than Hunger?
Every time you say Hunger, I think of the Steve McQueen film.
No.
Yeah,
The Hunger.
100% cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But that one had actually, it had like the male counterpart of Tilda Swinton, David Bowie. So there's a couple of scenes where they are like naked in bed. I remember like just joking about like, I cannot say who is the man, who is the woman.
Yeah, Jim Jarmusch, the director, fully embraced androgyny
Yeah.
in a very interesting way for me, because Tilda Swinton was also extremely feminine and Tom Hiddleston was very masculine, but when you see them together you realize the distinction really isn't that important. It's just two immortals who love each other.
Yeah.
And when I say immortals, they're the most frail vampires I've ever seen.
The most what? Real?
Frail? Like,
Right.
they're very fragile.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they
yeah.
go like 12 hours without blood and they can't walk.
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought they were supposed to be all-powerful, immortal beings.
Yeah, that was like one of the weird things, because basically we see them a couple of times about like just having blood that is so pure that they get high out of it. You know, they're basically having an orgasm out of it. But then they don't drink for the rest of the night again until Ava comes and is like they start like drinking non-stop.
Yeah, it's weird because they never go into the habits of the vampires. They don't go into any mythology. They do mention that being like cast away by garlic is a myth. That's not real.
Yeah.
But like at some point, Tilda Swinton's like, "Well, let's have breakfast, everyone," and then they have dinner. I don't know. There's nothing concrete about the mythology of these vampires.
And
at all.
he's not really concerned about building a world or building a reality. He's a bit more about like just building the circumstances of these characters, and that's pretty much it. You know, you have to roll like with like it may not make sense, but it's what it is.
So, just because you asked the question about is this film cooler or is Hunger cooler, I'm going to go immediately into one of our questions. Is it timely? Is it timeless? I would argue, and we discussed this a tiny little bit yesterday after we watched the movie, that Only Lovers Left Alive, it's pretty fucking timeless. And Hunger is pretty fucking rooted in the
Did we
80s.
discuss that? I mean, I just felt like this is like so cool, but it's cool actually just stuck in the teens. But that doesn't make it wrong. It's that Lost Boys also is cool, but it's stuck in the 80s.
But okay, so you bring up the Lost Boys. Which one do you think is more timeless?
I think that this is more timeless because of the topics that I actually discussed, but it's that the aesthetic is like firmly rooted in right now.
Well, remember this film is 8 years old. And I would argue that like the fashion, the style, it is timeless. Like the way they dressed and styled Tilda Swinton, it's basically like Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No. No, dude, no. No, I won't accept that. I'm sorry, but it's like the way that actually Audrey Hepburn is dressed in there is like is super classic, and she is like super modern. Like Tilda Swinton is like as modern as it gets on this movie, and the same way with Hiddleston.
I'm right now putting on our Google Calendar a discussion in 25 years. We're going to rewatch this, and you're going to admit the style is timeless.
No, I would tell you that that's like the style that we used to like. It's like for me, it's like a teens aesthetic definition. But we are just left the teens back, you know, like behind. It's that we haven't found like what is going to be like our aesthetic for this decade.
Agree to disagree.
All right.
And also, I think even the music, which is supposed to be, obviously, it's not written by Tom Hiddleston, but it's supposed to be written by his character, it's so different. I mean, it's super cool, but it's not like following the trends of 2012.
I was trying to find. It reminded me a bit of this band that I recommended you like long time ago from Spain that is called Balago. There is other bands that do this kind of stuff, a bit more like minimalistic, sad music. You know, like I'm not going to be like playing a lot of instruments, but I'm going to be like playing it a way that it makes you feel sad all the time. So I I wouldn't. It's cool music, but it's a similar case to Frank. There is you're making a bit of a parody about a specific type of music or a specific archetype of music, and it's good. It's like it's honest to God good music that I could listen without knowing that you just made it as a archetype.
But again, I think that contrast or comparison shows that like Frank's music already feels dated. This music is so far outside of like trends and what's popular that it still sounds fresh today.
I don't agree. When was the last time that you heard that soundtrack? Because I still like from time to time I go back to it.
What is the song? Don't Call Me. What's the one he ends?
Oh, the one that he is. This is the most likable song that I ever written.
Yeah, and like the chorus sounds like something else, but he's saying I don't remember. It's like Don't Call Me Marine or something.
No, I don't remember. But it's like, what I mean is like the most likable one is like the shitty one. The one that's like Coca-Cola. Yeah. No, but it's like the last one that he sings at the Madrid. Tell me what.
That's the one I'm trying to think. What are the lyrics?
It's I love you all. I love you all. I love you all.
I love you all. Yeah.
And that's a really good song. Even like nowadays, you can just hear it and it's like, this is timeless.
Compared to the music in Only Lovers Left Alive,
I like the soundtrack of Frank.
I do too, but I feel like it's dated.
I don't find it dated.
Do you find Only Lovers Left Alive to be dated?
No. But I don't find it like, like some kind of, oh my god, this is revolutionary. It's like there are bands that they do this type of music. And it's like they only went with like, hey, look, if there is someone living in Detroit, we want to just capture the feeling of desolation in music. And it's like we want to make something that is just minimalistic and sad, because there is nothing around here.
I don't disagree with everything you're saying. I just think in terms of staying power, what was written for Only Lovers Left Alive, in 25 years, it's going to sound just as amazing, whereas Frank is going to be like, oh, this is that like indie band that came from South by Southwest in the 2010s.
But the funny thing is, like, we are not like the right measurement of how cool something is going to be.
We have excellent taste. What are you talking about?
We do, but the problem is that we're going to be biased because we already like this at this point. It's that we're not going to be like just looking into what is the reality right now, how this fits without knowing it beforehand. Is that we already know how we like this. So it's that when we're actually going to be like just hearing it like 20 years in the future, we're going to be like, this is still super cool because we actually like it back then.
I don't know. When we just started to record, you specifically were telling me about a friend you spoke to, and you were talking about how as time moves on, you go back to a film later in life that you loved earlier in life, and you're like, oh, I don't like this so much anymore.
Yeah, because we change who we are.
Yes. I agree. I just don't think the music itself is going to change.
Okay. Alright. You left some calendar event for 20 years in the future for talking again about like Only Lovers Left Alive?
I mean, that was facetious, but I can if you want.
I hope
there's a disruptor that puts Google off the map, but we'll see.
That's not going to happen, and you know it. So I think that it's going to still be cool, but it's like I don't think that it's going to sound one versus the other. I don't think that anything is going to be like just really different. Holy shit, I just think that they use a theremin organ in Frank. Is that's already outdated even like when the movie came out. That was like the point of it. It's like this is hipsters, and hipsters are always going to be like this.
Exactly, but because, hipsters are firmly rooted in a very specific time in history.
Look, the thing, that's the reason why this is like timeless from that perspective, is that this could actually be called Hipster the movie. Is that the guy actually only listens to vinyls? Only Lovers Left Alive. It's like the guy only listens to vinyls. He actually collects like really old guitars that they are like probably stupidly expensive. That is that you probably can get something of the same quality nowadays like way cheaper.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, they are hipsters, but they're not the annoying sort of fucking like, oh, I made you a mixtape on cassette.
No, it's the kind of, I'm not going to be like putting my music out because people are not going to be appreciating it for what it is, because no one gets me.
He didn't want to be popular.
Yeah, this girl is going to become like really popular. I hope not. She's too good for actually going popular.
So I honestly think I did see this 3 times in theaters, not because I loved it so much, but I saw it and I did like it, and then I had to see it with my future husband. He was not my husband at the time, and then I took my mom to it, and then I took my friend Jessica to it, and then I'm certain that I watched it after theaters. So this is reliably the 5th time I've seen it. I have to say I was a tiny bit bored, but only because I've seen it so many times that I knew every scene.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, the thing is, like, also, if you are like just waiting for something to happen, nothing happens.
Besides them just looking super fucking cool wearing sunglasses at night with cool hairstyles.
Yeah.
Which the hairstyles may or may not be cool in 25 years.
No, those are not even cool today, dude. Is it those, the hairstyle? No, the hairstyle that Tilda and Mia wear is terrible.
I'm sorry, that hairstyle was never in style. That was the point. They looked weird and cool.
It doesn't look cool, dude. It doesn't look cool. It just looks like you put a lot of effort into just looking terrible.
But like, incredibly stylish terrible.
I don't agree, man. The hair for me was like a bit of a deal breaker. It was a bit more like, okay, I have to just remove this part because that's not cool. It's like just looking like a straw man is not cool.
Interesting. Because for me, the entire aesthetic, I was like, yes, give me more of this.
Yeah.
I wish Tilda Swinton would show up to the Oscars with that hairstyle.
I'm fans. It's just we're fans. No, that part was like, No, the acting is amazing.
Yeah, both Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton and Mia. Well, we actually discussed this. We liked Mia Wasikowska in this.
Yeah, no, she's good on this. You know, and you were telling me that depending on the movie, she can be like really good or forgettable. And it's like on this one, it's like she's good. I mean, it's not like a role that it has like a lot of nuances to it or anything because she's just a disruptor.
So we've had discussions about this film on and off for years, just because we, not like violently, but we disagree somewhat about the value of this film. But like, we had just a minor discussion about this yesterday. You are right, what you've been saying for 8 years. There's no substance to this. It's
Absolutely
not making
not.
you look at like society differently. It's not like making you think about yourself differently. But in terms of escapism, which is what the vast majority of people go to see movies for, this is, I would say, is at the top of the game. It's incredibly stylish.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly cool. The music's fantastic. Detroit is like the best backdrop ever for vampires.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to admit there's nothing more to this film than just looking fucking cool for 2 hours.
Thank you. I appreciate that because yesterday when I was watching, it's like they were like pointing that I was also like feeling bored, but I was like, look, it's still cool to look at, you know. It's still cool to also just getting into this world that is not like that well defined or anything, but it's just let's roll with it. I have to say that for me, as I were discussing earlier about like the clutterness of things, is that for me was like this is like way too much. But then when they have the need for putting something on the table, there is exactly the room for putting it there. There is a look. He's not concerned about building a realistic perspective of anything. He's just concerned about like looking amazing.
He's kind of the antithesis, in my opinion, of David Lynch, because David Lynch, there's way less. There's like in a room, there's going to be a bed, a table, a lamp, and that's it. But everything in the frame is so carefully thought out, and while this film looks incredibly cluttered, I genuinely believe that Jim Jarmusch was like, put a pile of shit here. Put a pile of shit here.
Yeah, it has to be like to worse to decide.
Artfully
this guy,
awful.
Yeah, this guy is a bit more of a maximalist, and David Lynch is a minimalist. It's a bit more that I don't need more. I'm not going to be like constructing my characters just based on furniture. I'm going to be like constructing them based in craziness.
So, in terms of the director's oeuvre, like the French word for body of work.
Okay, I don't think we ever used that. I've only watched 2 movies. I'm curious to see like more stuff. I only watched like this and The Dead Don't Die.
Which I didn't. I stopped watching. That was
bad. I went to the cinema and I just felt that this has been a waste of my time. I don't want anything.
So there was a period in my like diving into film history that I watched a number of his films, but he was kind of like at his peak interest to cinema in the 80s. So it would be interesting to add to our to-be watch list something that like kind of brought him to acclaim. Adam Driver. I completely forgot that Jim Jarmusch released a film in 2016 starring Adam Driver as a bus driver or a delivery man.
Oh, yeah.
And it's him driving around a town.
Okay.
The Limits of Control I found super cool. Broken Flowers. Coffee and Cigarettes was a big one. Yeah, I think I think this director is worth looking into
Oh,
more.
no, I'll be down. If you have like anything else that you feel is like this could be like a good movie, it's not going to be like so attached to aesthetics, I would definitely go down.
So his first, it doesn't look like his first. His first film, as I understand it, that brought him acclaim was Stranger Than Paradise in 1984.
Stranger Than Paradise.
Yeah, but it's like a black and white weird comedy.
So it's like his Europa.
Yeah, but you liked Europa.
I love Europa. I was like mind blown about like holy shit. This is like just basically Lars von Trier not trying to be an asshole to the audience, and he's good.
I'm going to find somebody on TaskRabbit that's willing to listen to every single podcast and count the number of podcasts where we did not mention Lars von Trier.
That we did not. Okay, that's how.
Oh, and he did Dead Man with Johnny Depp.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, where he just basically rides a train in real time.
Yeah, we actually talk about it several times. Well, it's not really in real time. It's like the Western movie in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed about it on my cinema study classes, like multiple
Really?
times. Yeah, like multiple times.
I'm embarrassed to admit that I bought that on... It must have been DVD. And I couldn't get past like the first 20 minutes. I was like, nope.
No, there was even like in our final exam, they pulled like one scene of this, about like, yes, what's this, and then just do like a nice scene, like an analysis of the scene.
So, I think to sum up Only Lovers Left Alive, aesthetically gorgeous.
Yeah.
You feel it's timely, I feel it's timeless.
Yeah.
There's no substance.
No whatsoever.
But it's super fucking cool.
Yeah, and the thing is like there is nothing wrong. I told you yesterday, like, having a movie that is timely, that doesn't make it bad, per se. You know, is that you may actually have the feeling that hey, if I watch this like 30 years in the future, that doesn't mean that it's going to be useless, even like for kids that they didn't live during that decade. Is that they can still actually say that, oh, okay, is that that's exactly how it was back then. We can watch like something we can watch like a Saturday Night Fever, and actually just like reflecting on that neither of us was alive, and we say that, hey, that was like the culture of that time. The story, as long as the story is like strong enough, what does it matter?
And that's where you get into like a nuanced like conversation about, yes, disco was from the 70s, right? But does it does it go beyond that to become a timeless piece? I don't know. I haven't seen Saturday Night Fever.
Maybe we should actually watch it. You haven't watched it?
Never.
They were playing it today at the Gen Cisco. I think that I told you they have been like open. I don't know if it's like for 35 years. Is that for 50 years maybe or something crazy like that. So they're playing like the best movie of each year. So they pick up like something random. I went to watch like the Bitter Tears of Petra von Karl from Fassbinder.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie of that year, it was like of this one, it was Saturday Night Fever. Of everything that came out like that year, is like this is like the best thing.
And who determined that?
They do.
Was it Siskel's reviews?
No, it's their reviews. Like the foundation is that they actually say that it's like this is it.
Interesting.
I mean, I think that is a cool idea about like, hey, we're not going to be like going with the super popular thing. It's like this is what we feel like it should have been like the best movie. Now, when we look in perspective, because Saturday Night Fever, maybe at that point we felt it's like, it's super 70s bullshit, and now it's like, well, actually, like super representative of what it was that time. It was timely, but it's like just properly portrayed for just being important.
All right, I see that.
Yep.
I think I've told you about when I had that older film critic friend who created a list of the best film of each year from like 1910 to 1978.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And there were some surprising films on that list. And I watched most of them. And I was surprised that some of these films, like Shampoo, I never thought that Shampoo would be like a solid film from history, and it was. I was like, okay, I get this.
No, I think that like, there's something pretty cool there. It's like you can actually have like a lot of awards, like Sundance, Cannes, or whatever. But it's like it's not the same when you actually put things in perspective, like with Larry, and you actually think how influential has this been to cinema afterwards. This may not be like the biggest gem, like using like the standards of that time, but it's like it actually reinvented like part of cinema, or it actually just captured like the essence, like the I always forget.
Siskel?
Not Cisco, the zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
I always forget how to pronounce it. The zeitgeist of that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So from that perspective is that I think that if we look at this movie like 20 years in the future or 30 years in the future, because it has been like almost 10 years since it was released, is that we may actually look into this was the zeitgeist of that moment.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, it's not that it's amazing, but it's that this actually captured what it was. Like that slightly sad kind of feeling, trying to be like playing it cool, you know?
Almost like emo. Almost emo.
Almost emo, but without getting to Lost Boys.
Yes.
Without going that step further. So will you watch it again?
So, the answer is yes, but I honestly think I have only one more viewing left, unless I don't watch it for 20 years. Because I remember so much of this film.
Yeah, for me, I will watch it again, but it has to be like just a long time from now. I wouldn't watch it like in 6 months. This is a movie that look, I know that there is nothing else. It's like if I'm going to be like bored, there's like many other movies that I should be watching instead of this.
Has your boyfriend seen it?
You know, no.
No. Okay.
No, well, no. I'm talking about it, and initially we thought about like maybe watching it together, but I thought it's like, look, we're going to have like a lot of time here in San
I can't
Francisco.
remember what my husband thought about it. I think he liked it, but also thought it was like, it's like beautiful and nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bimbo.
Yes. No, you stay away from Jessica Chastain. You stay away.
Okay.
She's a national treasure.
Okay, I won't say what I was going to say, but I love that you actually read exactly what I was thinking. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, completely. I mean, especially, I feel like this marries the things that I like about cinema to the people who go see movies for escapism. So it'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
if you're just going to like be entertained, go see this fucking stylish movie.
Yeah, no, I can see that. It's interesting. I would recommend it too, but it's... I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to my parents, but it's
Why?
a movie... Not because anything's sexual, but it's like I just had the feeling that they would be like, this was stupid. It's like sometimes they actually tell me that, and it's like it's something that back in the day I used to say, it's like cinema has to have a message. They have to have like something behind. And then I saw The Seventh Seal, and it's like, fuck this shit. It's like cinema has to entertain too. It's like this is where I draw the line in my mind. It's like you actually made me open my eyes that like cinema should be entertainment too. It's like finding that kind of balance is hard. You know, it's like it's hard to actually just find like a place that you have like a message and at the same time you entertain.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's like this is like just like look, I don't need a message. I just need to entertain with cool stuff. And there's nothing wrong, but it's like at the same time I just think that there are like so many other movies that I think that they have like a bit more, you know, to it. That this one is a bit more of a just maybe watch it. It's fine. Someone asked me, should I watch like Only Lovers Left Alive? I would be like, yes, just watch it.
So, do you feel like The Fall had more substance? Because The Fall is super fucking stylish.
I think that it's a story that it has, I don't know, it's more, I feel more for that movie than for Only Lovers Left Alive.
At the very least, The Fall is a film about storytelling and the way we interpret it. So, like, there's a layer.
Yeah.
There's a layer that Only Lovers Left Alive does not have.
No, you can actually say like, no, this is about like the infinite love that people can actually put it. No, dude, I don't think that it's like an study about love. I think this is just like trying to be like cool looking.
And also, none of the characters progress at all.
No.
The film ends with the characters in the exact same place as the film starts.
Yeah. Would you remember it?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I did forget the ending, but I remembered the vast majority.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned. I remember like a lot of stuff about this movie. It was like this.
I was surprised. You remembered more than I did.
Yeah. So the only thing that I had mixed up is like that they actually drank some kind of bad blood when it was actually the master, the mentor.
The one that, yeah.
That's what it is. Is there anything artistic about it?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, like every slide or every like frame could be like an amazing movie poster, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. You didn't mention it earlier, but I tried to bring it up. That it's like it reminds me a bit to Wes Anderson. About like the kind of care. I know that it's a different style of how to approach this, you know, but it's the same kind of. Hey, I'm going to be like making everything try to look as cool as possible.
Yeah, he's completely, as I said before, he's completely in control of everything you see in a frame, which I find super cool.
Yeah. So, is this a timeless piece?
100%.
100% no for me. You know that. It's like I'm sorry, this like so stuck on that time that it's like I'm just looking forward to see like 20 years later. Because even like right now, I was thinking that they are playing to be like the Milli Vanilli of the vampires of the second Matrix movie.
You will be 61 and I will be 57, and I'm gonna call you and tell you, fuck you, Jose.
Fuck you, Jose, you were right. You'll see. But come on, and now that I think about it, is that they look like the vampires from Matrix, from the second Matrix.
That's true, except with way more money. Like, just the sunglasses they were wearing were like $500 sunglasses. And I'm sorry, Italian fashion lasts forever.
Sure.
Nobody in the Matrix was wearing Italian fashion.
Not even when they had like Monica Bellucci there?
She might have been. All I remember is her coming in the green coat dripping from the...
Yeah, but in any case, it's like if you are actually talking about like Italian fashion and you have like Monica Bellucci, it's like you already won.
I just remember that she wasn't raped for 9 minutes.
That's true. There was like a bit of a mix on that movie, no? Would you turn it into a TV show?
Honest to God, yes. This is like the first time I feel like I'm like, yes, turn this into a show. Like, seriously, if HBO turned this into like a 6-episode miniseries, I would be like, yeah, I'll spend more time with these vampires.
I'm going to go with no. I'm going to say that I understand, I see where you're coming, you know, and I think that it would be interesting to see it, you know, like it's an exercise. But when I was bored yesterday, and it was like only 2 hours, and we actually split the movie in 2 days, it's like I don't know if I want to see like much more of this.
So as I'm about to ask this question, I'm realizing my own answer might be no. But would you like to learn more about Ian and Ava?
Not really.
Ava, for sure, I want to know more about her. They make some reference to some disaster she caused 87 years ago. Yeah. I want to know what that was, because she's a fun character.
I think that it is exactly the same, that she actually just feeding a human that she shouldn't have.
Killed his friend, yeah.
It's like, it happened again! Like, I cannot control myself! And it's like, so, it's almost like just like making like this sitcom kind of joke, you know, but it's like
with
instead of being...
track.
Yeah, with like a Steve Urkel, you know, like doing something simple like...
I do that!
But it's like, yeah, but actually these jokes are actually spread like 1 century apart from each other. Yeah. You know, and I felt like, nah, I don't want to see them like just jumping. And they're like good like TV comedies about vampires. It's like, what we do in the shadows?
Yeah.
It's a good show, you know.
Now I'm thinking like, I was thinking initially I would like to learn more about the mythology of these creatures, but then maybe the allure of the film is that like it doesn't matter. They don't tell us. It's not about any of that.
No, because it's about like just the form, not about the substance. Yeah. You know. So from that perspective, it's like I think that it actually would fall apart even more, like the movie, if you actually try to dig a bit deeper into it. It's like let's just leave it here. Let's just it's fine.
So I'm gonna keep my answer as yes, but now I have doubts.
Yeah, no, it's actually fine. So do you think that this movie could have been better?
Nope. Don't change a thing.
I agree. It's like one of those situations that is like, look, it's fine as it is. It's like there is nothing wrong with it. It's like Jim Jarmusch had like this idea, like I'm going to be like, doing like a highly aesthetic exercise on this, similar to a Single Man with Tom Ford by Tom Ford.
It is similar, but even a Single Man
had
more. Like losing a partner and what that does to you. Like it explores more than Only Lovers Left Alive could ever hope to explore.
Yeah, but it's highly aesthetic movies.
Yeah, super stylized.
You know, and it's like there is nothing wrong with that. It's like that's what you're going for. I don't think that Jim Jarmusch actually lost his way along the way. It's like I think that he actually, when he sat down to start like thinking that I'm going to direct a movie about vampires, he was thinking about this. Like frame by frame, it's like this is how it's going to be like, looking like, and from that perspective, like he's a seed. I don't think that there is anything to say on it.
Agreed.
Cool. So before we score, I'm getting you by surprise on this, but it's like, do you have any movie that you want me to ask if I remember?
100%. Tell me, Jose. Tell me what the plot of Clueless is.
Fucker. So the plot of Clueless is basically this very post girl that is trying to become a better human being because she's challenged by her step brother.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah, no? And then at the end she actually discovers that I always had that better human being inside me, and she ends up with her step brother. So it's a retelling of Emma. It's a retelling of Emma. Yeah. You know? So, so she tries to just pair everyone together and blah blah blah.
Alright, fuck you. That was pretty good.
I think that I remember like partially because I dated briefly a guy that he loved like period pieces. It was like something that like from the get-go, it was like this is going to be a disaster. And then we went to watch Emma. And it's when I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen other part of this with Clueless. That's true. Is this smart? No, but it's interesting. Interesting as a sign, like just portraying into the high school, like environment.
Okay, you did good. Well done.
Thank you. So should we score this? What day is today? Sorry, no, don't tell me that because we don't want to record that. So should we score this?
We should.
Okay. So as this was my pick, surprisingly, what is your score for this?
My score is a 7.
Okay.
I think it's better than average. It's got something. There's not a lot of substance, but it's worth. I would recommend it basically to anyone.
Yeah, and my score is also 7. It's like I have to say that I didn't dislike it. Even if I say that it's a product of its time, is that doesn't mean that it's bad. I think that is like just doing something that is a product of its time, like pretty well, is also a work of art in itself. Yep. So from that perspective, it's like good movie. Thank you so much. Now the dead don't die. It's garbage. I'm sorry. So as this was my pick, what is going to be your pick, Ness?
So we, taking advantage of the fact we're in the same city, are going to see a movie released last year called Sundown, directed by Michel Franco.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know anything else by him.
Well,
oh, he did After Lucia. Fuck.
What a screw.
After Lucia was brutal.
But it's brutal, but good or not?
Super good, but it's about like high school bullying in Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I
took a friend to see it, and she walked out.
Oh god. Okay, so it may get real. Alright. Oh man, this was great. Yeah, and it was great to actually just record again, like face to face. Probably the audio is going to be garbage because they were playing like the music super loud. I think that they waited until we started recording.
But we are in a dive bar, so
exactly. Yeah, we are actually
pros
respecting.
And cons.
Yeah, we are respecting 100% of our title today.
Exactly.
And to all those people that they are there like putting out with terrible audio quality, anything to say to them?
Wash your hands and don't pet any deer because apparently deer carry Omicron.
Ah. Alright, well, that's a good advice. Alright, thank you so much. Bye.